I now recognize the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations, Mr. Green of Texas, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the ranking member, thank the witnesses for appearing. I would like to ask Vice Chair Powell a question. Vice Chair Powell, do you agree that as a general rule to control high inflation, the Fed will raise interest rates?
Congressman Mr. Green, who is the question directed to?
Ms. Bowman, excuse me.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, Congressman Green. We recognize that inflation has been well above 2%.
Could I do this, please? Just as a general rule,
Yeah.
if you have high inflation that you desire to control, do you raise interest rates as a general rule?
Well, Congressman, as you know, Congress gave us a dual mandate of maximum
But
employment
I'm interested
and
in
price
this. I
stability.
understand the dual mandate. Do you raise interest? Well, maybe you don't know. Do you know whether you would raise interest rates?
Well, I just discussed my framework for making decisions about monetary policy, which would include raising, lowering, or leaving.
Okay,
the
would you
rate
raise interest rates if inflation
depends-
is high?
It
and you want to
depends
control it?
on the condition of the economy and all of the
As
aspects.
a
that we
general
review.
rule, when inflation is high and you want to control it, would you raise interest rates?
In certain circumstances, yes, we would.
Okay. And as a general rule, what would happen if you lowered the interest rates when inflation is high?
Well, what we found during COVID, when we had inflation in excess of 9% by some measures, having low inflation or low federal funds rate stimulated the economy.
And when you stimulate the economy, what happens? If you have high inflation?
Inflation can continue to increase.
Inflation continues to go up.
Representative Green opens with a deceptively simple line of questioning, walking Bowman through basic monetary policy step by step, forcing her to confirm on the record that lowering rates during high inflation makes things worse. The buildup is methodical and deliberate, and the payoff lands hard. Green uses her own answers to construct the case that a president who strong-arms the Fed for political gain is a direct threat to every American's economic well-being.
Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, if you have a president who desires to lower the interest rates for political purposes, and the Fed believes that the interest rate should be raised, then you will have a president who is at odds and who would probably increase inflation. I mention this because I'm concerned about the independence of the Fed. And you have a president who wants control of that process. If the president can control that process, the president can do something that can be very harmful to the economy, especially this president, who does things to benefit himself as opposed to the people who actually need the benefit, which is the American people. I said Powell earlier. That's because I have such great respect for him. And I am absolutely a person who believes that he has done the right thing by standing up to this president. He has made a difference. He has shown us how one person who is bold enough to take a stand can make a difference for the American people. I believe so strongly in this that I will personally have a flag flown over the Capitol to support him and to acknowledge him for the courage that he has shown at a very difficult time in our country's history. He is no longer the chair. I trust that this chair will have the courage of Chair Powell. And pardon me for initially starting with his name, but it was on my mind because I think so highly of him and I had planned to make these comments. Now, let's talk for just a moment about meme coins.
Green pivots from economics to a deeply personal tribute, announcing he will personally honor Jerome Powell with a capital flag for the courage Powell showed resisting presidential pressure. The moment is emotionally charged and politically pointed. Green is essentially praising a man Trump tried to undermine while directly warning the new chair, Bowman, that she will be watched and judged by the same standard. A rare, genuine human moment in the middle of a technical hearing.
Generally speaking, there's something that is known as the greater fool theory. And this greater fool theory depends upon someone who has made a purchase, having another person pay more for that purchase than this someone that made the initial purchase. That's how you make your money. A meme coin is highly dependent on the greater fool theory, someone buying at a higher price than the person who bought initially. Is there anybody who differs with me on that? Good. Because a meme coin means literally that you buy nothing when you make your purchase, but you do have the opportunity to either make money or lose money. Well, the president has found a way to manipulate meme coins, and he and his family, they've made hundreds of millions of dollars with the manipulation of these meme coins. I stand against it, and I also stand against the crypto criminals who are making it possible for this to occur. At some point, people who invest in nothing will get what they are purchasing. I'm going to protect the American people as long as I have the opportunity to do so. Yes, I'm Al Green, unbought, liberated Democrat who's also unelected but is still fighting.
Gentlemen,
Yield back.
The hearing shifts register entirely as the chairman questions the OCC's Gould and then Fed Vice Chair Bowman on whether bank merger reviews adequately account for competition from fintechs, credit unions, and non-bank lenders. Bowman and Gould both concede the current framework is outdated, a quiet but significant policy admission that the competitive landscape has fundamentally changed since 1995 and regulators haven't caught up.
gentlemen's time has expired. I'll now recognize myself for 5 minutes. Mr. Gould, in recent years, merger reviews have often been conducted using competitive effects analysis that treat insured depository institutions as if they operate in an isolated marketplace, even as fintech lenders, credit unions, farm credit institutions, and other non-bank financial firms now provide overlapping loan and deposit products at scale. As the OCC evaluates future transactions, how do you intend to incorporate kind of the non-bank competitors into the assessment of the market concentration?
Thank you very much for the question. I mean, you're right that deposits are and can be a poor proxy of market power, particularly given the fact that many banks do compete with non-banks across a range of services. And that is why back in 2020, when the then Justice Department was reevaluating their 1995 bank merger guidelines, the OCC submitted a letter to that effect, making that very point that I've just made here today. We would, I think, continue to look to work with the DOJ and their antitrust team in terms of ensuring that when we evaluate mergers and we look to the DOJ for their advice on the competitiveness factors, that they are in fact reflecting the fact that the banking system and the members of it compete with a much broader range of entities than they did, say, back in 1995.
Can you give me like any idea on the analytical framework that you would think is most appropriate to ensure that kind of the competition reviews reflect the full range of providers serving consumers?
Sir, I'd be happy to get back to you on that, but in general, the OCC looks to and receives guidance from the DOJ around that, so their antitrust department gives us advice on that.
Very good, thank you. Vice Chair Bowman, you previously noted that the banks now competitively kind of compete directly with credit unions, which I'm well aware of. I've been in many meetings with bankers and credit unions. And fintech firms and other non-banks offering kind of similar financial products. In the context of the bank merger reviews, would it be helpful for the Federal Reserve to update kind of the competitive analysis to reflect the broader landscape and kind of including all of these different entities? Because it probably would give us a better snapshot on the concentration of findings that probably match the reality of the markets out there right now.
The hearing's most explosive segment. Green dismantles meme coins using the greater fool theory, explaining that buyers purchase literally nothing, then drops the accusation directly. Trump and his family have made hundreds of millions manipulating these instruments at the public's expense. Green closes with a defiant declaration. Unbought, unbossed, liberated. making this the most viral-ready moment in the entire hearing.